everyone. Today I added some more books to the hospital book list. And specifically, the books added this week are about surgery. I worked as a child life specialist in a surgery center for a lot of years, and have had experienced all sorts of different anxiety, questions, and experiences. So it took me a while to come up with this list, because there are always things that I wish it did or didn't say, and I just have a lot of strong feelings about it. But I did come up with some books today to share with you all. I want to say first, if you have a child that's going to be having surgery soon and you'd like to prepare them for it, if you are having your surgery at a children's hospital, most likely there is a child life team that could answer specific questions and give you specific resources to prepare your child through what they will experience at their hospital. So I highly recommend looking into that. Some of them have YouTube videos they've created, some of them have custom resources on their websites. So please look into that. I also know that many people are having surgery not at a children's hospital. My son, being one of them this fall, had a surgery through a surgery center with not very impressive preparation materials. And so I know you're looking for resources or ways to talk about surgery before experiencing it, not knowing exactly the details of what's going to happen at the specific surgery center that you're utilizing. So I've come up with a few books that I recommend. One is called Magic Air 10 Size Steps to Surgery by Alana Smith. And this book is pretty great about using child friendly language and talking about things that are common experiences that happen at every surgery center. I will say it does focus on falling asleep by breathing through a mask. So if your child is older or has some medical differences that you're not sure if they'll fall asleep through a mask or through an IV, it might be a little bit confusing because this book specifically talks about falling asleep through a mask. So that's one thing to consider. Another resource I found was called Getting Ready for Surgery by Dr. Fei Zwing Ward, which I have recommended another resource by this author about going to the doctor, and it uses good, easy to understand language. It does have some interactive aspects in this book, specifically writing down questions you have, which I highly recommend or think that's a good conversation to have with your child. It does talk about waking up with an IV, which is a common experience, and most likely, unless your child's getting tubed, something they will experience. And ask children, like, oh, what color was your IV when they woke up, or some of those specifics, which might be better to follow up afterwards with. So it would be a good resource to look through as an adult and decide whether it's a good fit for your child. The next book I found was called Surgery on Sunday. This is more of a storybook than a preparation book, but a story that serves a purpose. So the girl in the story is having surgery. She's feeling worried. She brings along her stuffed octopus, which are all things that I think kids would identify with. She does get an IV before she falls asleep. So if that is not happening for your child, you want to make sure you clarify that. Um, but it talks about the rules she figured out that exist in the surgery world, and then might be a good opportunity afterwards to work with your child and say, like, what rules for surgery do you think exist, or what would you tell other kids that are having surgery? So I always think follow-up conversations are just as important as preparation conversations as far as building your child's view of the world, understanding of medical procedures, or the importance for taking care of your body. So this is a nice story that would engage a lot of kids, I think. And the last book I added to the list is called Daniel Goes to the Hospital. From my research, I don't think this book exists in story form, or it doesn't exist in, paperback form. But if you go to the PBS Kids website, it's a free resource that you can print. And it goes along with Daniel Goes to the Hospital, the show. So there's a Daniel Tiger episode where Daniel goes to the hospital, and I think it's tubes. It's an ear surgery. It's something short, outpatient, that he goes home that night. And so that could be, if you have young children, it could be a really good resource to use before they go to surgery. But I would say that it would be good to maybe follow up with the book printable afterwards, just because sometimes when kids are watching shows, they're not fully comprehending all of the information, it's coming too fast, or it's they're distracted. They're doing other things at the same time. They're thinking about other things at the same time. So, following up after either watching the show with this book or even just having a conversation as an adult who watches the show with them about making sure that they understand the different pieces of it that are important to their care. So, those are the 4 books that I am recommending today. If you know of another great surgery book that you think should be added to the hospital book list, please uh, either leave it in the comments or email me, reach out at my website where you can find the whole hospital book list, which is www.wordsworthrepeating.com. And keep following for more hospital relevant kids books and readings. Thanks.